Hello students, today we are going to have a talk on introduction at school level. Children needs these ideas, words like oscillations, waves, sound and light. Actually at school level from 6th to 10th they don't deal light as a wave. At college level there is a topic called physical optics or also called wave optics. There only we study it as a wave. So today we will confine our lecture to oscillations, waves and sound. So they are somewhere interlinked. These ideas will be coming at different classes, but altogether 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th classes, these ideas are required for children to know. So we are not going to do any problems. Next class I'm going to give a number. There I am going to deal with the mathematics of a progressive wave, then mathematics of a stationary wave. Like that, lot of things are there where I'll be teaching at college level. Presently it is only a basic elementary ideas about what are oscillations or vibrations, what are waves and basic terminology, types of waves and sound and characteristics. So today's lecture will confine to that. So first, coming to oscillations, in future you are going to study something called simple harmonic motion in detail. And in that simple harmonic motion we need to satisfy 4 conditions. 1. The motion must be periodic. For example, I'll show one simple harmonic motion to you, that only we can call it as oscillation. See, this is one. So it should go and come back in same time. So the motion which is periodic. Second thing, it can come back like this also. See, it is coming back to the same place again and again, but it is periodic also. But that is not oscillation. So it should go and come in the same path. So forward and backward, back and forth. In a simple way they call to and fro along same path. And third condition is, see here, now it's at rest, but still it's coming towards center. That means it should accelerate towards center. So acceleration must be directed towards mean position. Not only that, if you give a little amplitude, it should, little distance if you move it, it should move slowly. If you move more distance, it should move fast. If you move more, it should move more fast. Like that, the acceleration must be directly proportional to the displacement from mean position. From center, if you call this distance as x, more x you give, more acceleration. Less x you give, less acceleration. Slowly, fastly. So that too, if you pull it left, it should come towards right. If you pull it towards right, it should come towards left. So these two should have opposite directions. If these 4 conditions are satisfied, that motion is called simple harmonic motion, in which one of the motion going back and forth along the same path, we can call it as an oscillation. So oscillation is a smaller word, SHM is a bigger word. At college level you will study SHM, simple harmonic motion. So simple harmonic motion should satisfy 4 conditions. The particle should go and come back in same time. It should go and come back along the same path. Its speed, acceleration should be towards, changes should be towards the center. And the change should be more, if you are going more distance from the center, change should be less when it is coming towards the center, like that. So if these conditions are satisfied, that is called simple harmonic motion. A small part of it is oscillation. So we will confine our lecture to oscillation. So what is an oscillation? If a particle moves forward and backward, back and forth along the same path, it's called oscillation. Sometimes you get confused between words oscillation and vibration. So to avoid your confusion, see, this is a pendulum which is going front and back like this. Now I make this. It is also moving like this, vibrating. So what the difference means? The center of this strip which is oscillating is not moving from one place to other place, whereas the center of the bob is moving from one place to other place. So more basically, this is called oscillation. If you hold it at the center and you do like this is called vibration. There is no much difference as such If center of mass don't move, here also back and forth, forward and backward motion is required, along the same path is required, all conditions are satisfied. Only thing is, if center is fixed, we use the word generally vibration. Doesn't matter at all, and moreover, if more oscillations occurring at a very small time, generally we can call it as vibration. Small amplitude oscillations, we can call it as vibration. Many things are there, but basic difference is center, if it is moving, that is oscillation. If center is fixed and the objects are moving, that's called vibration. Now coming to the important part is regarding simple pendulum only. In future we are going to derive an expression called time period of simple pendulum is equal to 2 pi under root length by acceleration due to gravity. From this we can frame 4 different laws. So going and coming back, this is called one time period. Go, come back, one time period. But there will not be any proper system to measure one time. See here, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that you oscillate it, and for 10 oscillations let it take 12 seconds. So 10 oscillations, 12 seconds is small t. So 12 seconds by 10 oscillations gives you 1.2 seconds per one oscillation. So the time taken for one oscillation is called its time period. Why we should do like that? Why can't we measure going and coming back? Why can't we measure like this? Suppose we have see here, this kind of a watch is called stopwatch. You can start it, as it goes and come back, immediately you have to stop it. This may be difficult for you, and moreover we tie this for a we will insert it into a cork, and when it is started at the end you have to start your watch. By the time it comes back you have to stop your watch. There will be a lot of error in that. So if you allow count for 10 oscillations, 20 oscillations, like that, the error gets minimized. So instead of finding time for one oscillation, we find time for some 10 oscillations or 15 oscillations or 20 oscillations, and then we find time for one oscillation by dividing. That's a more accurate method where experimental error can be minimized. Their experimental error can be minimized. That's the way we measure. So time taken by oscillating body to complete one oscillation, we call it as time period. And that time period you can frame 4 laws. Law, 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 law. And that law is like this. First law. What is time period? Time for one oscillation. Now see this. Length of the pendulum is involved. This one. This is small length, bigger length, bigger length, bigger length, like that. Length of the pendulum is involved, and gravity, here there is a gravity. That's why if you leave the bob, it is coming down. Gravity is pulling down. Gravity is involved. But mass of this bob is not involved. So in this place of bob, you can attach one box like this and make it oscillate. You can attach a duster like this and make it oscillate. You can attach anything, but only thing is the length should be remaining constant. So time period of pendulum, first law says that time period of pendulum don't depend on mass, size, shape, volume, density, etc. of the bob. Independent of, first law says, who is independent of time period? So first law is time period of simple pendulum don't depend on the mass of the bob, size of the bob, shape of the bob, volume of the bob, density of the bob, etc. That factors are not there. Only these two factors, length and gravity, are to be accounted. Second important law, T is independent of amplitude. What is amplitude? Maximum distance you take the bob from the center is the amplitude. So this is small amplitude, large amplitude. So if you give large amplitude, it does go fast and come fast. If you give small amplitude, go slow, come slow. So small distance it moves with small velocity, large distance it moves with large velocity. So time is equal to, if you write distance by velocity, when you give a small distance, say 1 centimeter this side, 1 centimeter this side, going and coming back, totally 4 centimeters, it goes slowly with 4 centimeters per second. If you give 3 centimeters this side, 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, so 12 centimeters, it will go with 12 centimeters per second. So again time comes to be same. That means when you give small amplitude, it goes slowly. When you give large amplitude, it goes fast, but it takes same time. This is called time period is independent of amplitude. By giving more amplitude, you are also increasing the speed. For example, I have to go from here to 1 kilometer, and somebody, my friend is also there, he has to go 10 kilometers. I am going by walking, he goes on bike, and I reach 1 kilometer and he reached 10 kilometers at same time. That is possible because his speed is more, his length is also covered more. My speed is less, I covered less distance. So that kind of a law is second law of pendulum. Third law of pendulum is now related to this formula now. So time period depends on length and gravity. 2 pi is a constant. Time period of simple pendulum directly proportional to length of the pendulum as square root. So you see, you can see in this video now, I am giving a small length of the pendulum. Quickly it's coming back. If you have a watch, you can try this. Now I increase the length. Slow, it takes more time. You see, as length is small, it does the oscillations quickly. I am not doing like this. It's only naturally it's happening. Quickly it's coming back. Quickly it's coming back. Now I'll count 1, 2, 3, 4. You see, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You see how fast I counted. Now you see 1, 2, 3, 4. So how is directly is related? More length, more time period, but not direct proportional. Square root of length is important there. So time period of simple pendulum is directly proportional to square root of the length of the pendulum. Next, fourth law. Time period of simple pendulum is inversely proportional to acceleration due to gravity. Many people say, and small children also know, that gravity on earth divided by 6 will be equal to gravity on moon. So on moon, 1/6 of gravity will be there. So here 9.8 is the acceleration due to gravity. On moon surface will be 9.8 divided by 6 you make it, 1/6. So it will come out to be some 1.4 meters per second square. So on moon, less gravity, no? To swing like this and come back, it takes more time. Less gravity, more time. More gravity, less time. On earth, gravity is more compared to moon. So quickly it goes and comes back. Here acceleration will be more. On Jupiter, if you take another planet, it's having lot of gravity. If you do this experiment there, then this will oscillate much faster because of more gravity. The pull is so high that it makes up much more quicker oscillation for the same length. So here, if you keep gravity constant, that means you repeat this experiment for different lengths on same earth. Don't change the gravity. On earth here, in Hyderabad, in Ahmedabad, in Delhi, you do it. That is one way. Next is, keep the length the same. So here also you make half meter. This is. Here also you make pendulum of half meter and oscillate it. Go to moon and take half meter pendulum and oscillate it. Here it is doing quickly, there it will do slowly. So if gravity is constant, time period of pendulum is proportional to square root of length. If length is constant, time period of simple pendulum is inversely proportional to gravity. What is time period? Repeatedly I am telling. Time to complete one oscillation. What is one oscillation? A to and fro motion. So this is minimum elementary things. Even a school child should know it. It is difficult to remember the laws, but it is easy to remember one formula like this, and it is also useful to solve problems. T is equal to 2 pi under root L by G. Here 2 pi is a constant. Remaining, what are the factors? Many people, by seeing the simple pendulum, they think that the bob is responsible for all these things happening. Thread is responsible, or material of the bob is responsible. Bob is round. So that all things, mass, size, shape, volume, density, what all you are thinking, all are not responsible for those oscillations. Next, many people also think that because he is pulling little, it is doing quickly. If he pulls long, it takes more time. No, it takes same time. So independent of amplitude. If it independent of everything, then what it depends on? It depends on two things. One is length, other is gravity. Fixing the gravity, directly time period is directly proportional to length, square root of length. Fixing the length, time period of pendulum is inversely proportional to square root of gravity. More gravity, less time period. Less gravity, more time period. Acceleration due to gravity. More length, more time period. Less length, less time period. So everything with activity based, I taught you regarding oscillations. This much basic knowledge is required to understand waves. Moreover, if you are interested on earth to know, to calculate time period, you can do one thing like this. We can have this formula as it is. T is equal to 2 pi under root L by G. 2 into this pi is 3.14 under root of length. Gravity is on earth 9.8. If you happen to see this, square root of this comes around near about 3 only. So this and this directly you can cancel it off. So T is equal to 2 root L. Now if length of the pendulum is say 1 meter, put it here. So T is equal to 2 into root 1, that is equal to 2 seconds. So that kind of a pendulum is called seconds pendulum. The pendulum whose length is 1 meter. I'll show you. This is a meter scale and I need a pendulum of 1 meter length. Then it goes and comes back after 2 seconds. Now I want time period to be 1 second. 1 is equal to 2 under root of L. Bring this down. 1 by 2, that is nothing but half. Half is nothing but half meter. So 0.5, okay, write it. Half is equal to root L. Square both sides. L is equal to 1 by 2 whole square. That is nothing but 1 by 4. 1 by 4 is nothing but 0.25 meters. That is nothing but L is equal to 25 centimeters. So now let me take the scale. This mark is 25. So I need a pendulum of length 25 centimeters. Like this. This pendulum goes and come back exactly in 1 second. The other pendulum what I discussed, whose 1 meter length, it takes 2 seconds to come back. So what is the simplified way you can remember this formula is T is equal to 2 root L. This formula you can remember for earth, because pi is always 3.14, 22 by 7. Gravity on earth is approximately 9 or 10. This value after under root and this will automatically always get cancelled. You can remember like this. If you know length of the pendulum, you can find time period. If you know time period, you can find length. This is theoretically. But practically, that is not the way of finding the time period. Take a pendulum of whatever length you want and take a watch, stopwatch in your cell phone, it will be there. So press it, allow it to go and come back. Go, come back, go, come back. Say count for 10 oscillations, time you find it out. So 10 oscillations. It takes 8 seconds. Then 10 per, okay, we need time should be in the numerator. 8 seconds it took for 10 oscillations. So it will take 0.8 seconds for 1 oscillation. So once you know time, then you measure the length. Theoretically finded value, practically finded value should be matching with each other. This experiment is very interesting. And moreover, as I told, it is unimportant that you have to go and purchase in the market this pendulum only. You can, anything you can hang it. But only thing is, see that there kind of a hook kind of a thing you can insert into it. You can take a clay ball, you can take a lump and make it. And here you should not tie the string to your finger. You should hold it tightly like this. And better, with one hand if you want to do and other hand you want to operate the watch, it's not possible. Better you fix it to a stand where there is a cork, or you can take 2 corks or 2 erasers you have, no? Rubber erasers. Between the 2 erasers you can clip it and put the thread. Then it will be called as frictionless thread. There you get more accuracy. Almost the theoretically founded value and the practically founded value will be same. Anyhow, I completed what is oscillations. Related to oscillations, we have three definitions. 1. Amplitude. 2. Time period. 3. Frequency. Just now I told amplitude is the maximum distance you take it from the main positions. The center position will be there, no, where it is at rest. From there you, where it is in equilibrium, upward and downward forces are cancelling each other. So the maximum displacement of a vibrating particle from its mean position. So for example, particle is here, it is going up to here and it's going up to here and oscillating. So this we call it as mean position. So here to here is called x, here to here is called x, say x1, x2, here to here is called x3, and here to here the final one is called x max. That x max we call it as amplitude. And you can have this side also x max, negative x max. That is also amplitude. Amplitude is a positive quantity. Center to the end, the length we call it as amplitude. Maximum displacement. Displacement will be positive and negative. Amplitude is always fixed quantity, that is positive quantity. So the maximum displacement of a vibrating particle from its mean position. If at all it's going along x axis, x maximum is equal to a, or y maximum is equal to a, or even the particle may be doing like this, like this. These are called angular oscillations. So theta maximum, the maximum angle it moved from its center, is also amplitude a, whatever it may be. So this can be plus or minus, this can be plus or minus, this can be plus or minus. Once if you take right side positive, left side is negative. So plus or minus of x, this you can take it as a. Time period, number of seconds consumed for one oscillation. I told you oscillation and vibration, they are used one in terms of other, don't worry about it. Frequency is number of oscillations per 1 second. So number of seconds, time by oscillations, oscillations by time. If you write time period as t, frequency as n, t is equal to 1 by n, always replaceable, n is equal to 1 by t, always replaceable. T is equal to 1 by n is equal to 1 by t. By knowing frequency we can find time period, by knowing time period we can find frequency. So these are the main three definitions you should learn related to oscillations. Now we are introducing the concept of waves. So first I'll write define wave. Wave is a disturbance caused in elastic medium which travel from particle to particle without actual motion of particles. This is a definition given in the textbook. So disturbance is nothing but we give some energy at one place. That energy in an elastic medium where particles just oscillate like this, and they are bounded, one particle is bounded to another particle, is called elastic medium, in which vibrating particle can come back to its mean position, and it travels from one particle to other particle without actual motion. The particles will not move from one place to other place. Let us take like this. This is a pendulum. If you have a set of pendulums and all of the pendulums are connected, so if I move this pendulum, the other pendulums also start moving. So I have pendulum, 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 all are connected with some wires like this. This is some ceiling. Now if I oscillate this pendulum, copying the motion of this will oscillate. Copying the motion of this will oscillate. So all of them, they will show a pattern like this, the wavy pattern. So that is called as a wave. So how it happens, I may not be having that many pendulums to show you, but I have another equipment to show you. These are the straws, like pendulums. We are very lucky in physics that anything what we speak, you can take any other thing and explain it. So here, straws are like pendulums for you, and they are connected with some cellophane tape. And once you have like this, see here, I am creating a disturbance, I am giving energy to this. See, the energy went there. See again, energy is going from, see, this particle first vibrates, this motion is copied by next. As they are a connected medium, we call it as elastic medium. Secondly, the particle's mean position is not changing. Center of this remains here, center of this remains here, center of this remains here. Only the energy travels. Matter also travels, that is different. Matter here don't travel. Matter is fixed at every place. So here, basically definition is, there is transport of energy but not matter. Basic idea of wave motion comes like this. So if you are carrying some mass, along with that you are carrying the energy. For example, you are sitting in a car and car is going from here to Vijayawada. Obviously, mass is also went, the kinetic energy is there along with it. So energy and matter both are transporting. That is particle motion. Wave motion is energy only travels, particle don't travel. Similarly, if you have ocean and this is a shore. So morning you went to the shore, up to evening you played in the beach. Waves are coming, going. Waves are coming, going. Waves are coming and going. The beach in the beginning was up to some edge. In the evening also it will be there only. After 1 year you go to the beach, it will be there, same place. That means that huge mass of water is coming like this, going like this, like that, but complete water is not getting transported. So tide in an ocean fits into the definition of a wave. Fits into the definition of waves. Tides are waves. But tsunami, you know what actually happens in tsunami? A huge water mass gets onto the land. There is a transport of energy as well as matter. So that will not be like a car going from here to Vijayawada, it is like that. So tsunami don't fit into the definition of a wave. I will show you now both. I will show you tide as well as tsunami here. See here, I am showing a tide now. This is the tide. This is tsunami. Matter also transported. So tide is a wave, tsunami is not a wave as per definition. In definition, particle should vibrate without dislocating from its mean position. Do like this. And one particle's SHM or oscillation is copied by next particle, and that also oscillates. So what is one doing, the other will do it, which is little distance away from it and after certain time. Little distance away from it after certain time. Little distance after, in that way wave spreads. So wave will have velocity. As wave have velocity, it will have kinetic energy. So many things I am going to discuss there. So this is about waves introduction. I told you oscillations, I told you waves. Now coming to wave. In oscillations we define amplitude, time period, frequency. In waves we need to define wavelength. So we have particle like this. So this particle started up, then this will see this, and next as it goes here it copies the motion. Next it starts coming back. then it grows, then this starts motion, then this goes in the backward direction, then this comes down, this grows, then this starts growing in this downward direction, this starts coming back, then this starts coming back, because copying after one after other they will do it. So this particle goes up, come down, go down, come up and come back. So it took some oscillation, for that it took some time period t. By that time, next particle copies the motion. Now this is going to start the motion. So within this time, the distance traveled by the wave, the distance traveled by the energy is called as wavelength. Now see here, you can't even see it. I have to make it very slow motion video, which is not possible with this technology which is available to me. See here, this vibrated and came back. By that time, this particle is vibrating, for example, started vibrating. Then see, go and come back. By that time it went up to here. The distance traveled by a wave in one time period is called wavelength. Distance traveled by a wave in one time period is called as wave. And if it is having velocity, wave velocity, they are related. So wave velocity is v wave, wave velocity, the velocity with which disturbance traveled. Time period, if you take 1t, then that is equal, distance traveled is equal to lambda. In 2 time periods it travels 2 wavelengths. In 5 time periods it travels 5 wavelengths. So we can lambda is equal to vt, you can remember it. So this connection is always true. Why? Distance, time period, we are not writing distance is equal to speed into time. Distance is equal to speed into time, we are not writing. Speed we are writing it as wave velocity, time we are writing it as time period, the distance traveled we are writing it as wavelength. So this is a general expression always applicable for any waves. If you know wave speed, this is called v wave. Wave speed and the individual any one particle's time period, if you know it, multiply both, you will get the wavelength. And you can, by knowing wavelength and time period, you can find wave speed, vice versa, like that. And already we are told that time period is always replaceable with frequency. So if you replace this time period with frequency, we get lambda is equal to v by n, or cross multiply. V is equal to n lambda, which is a very famous another formula. This formula connects wave speed, wavelength and time period. This formula connects wave speed, frequency and wavelength. Both formulas, you can learn it. All came from definition. So need not worry that should I apply here, should I apply there. That in future I am going to give wave speeds in solids, wave speeds in liquids, wave speeds in gases. By Newton he has given, Newton Laplace formulas are also given. There you have to think whether should I apply here or not, like that you have to confuse. This is always true. When you know wave frequency and wave wavelength, you can find wave speed. So this is about wave. Types of waves are there. So I need to clear the board, just to, you can give me a little pause. Yes students, waves, I am concentrating on this, not oscillations and sound. Wave classification based on several factors is there. So wave classification based on necessity of medium. So medium means solid, liquid and gas. Matter may not move, but matter required. See here, previously when I shown the example of this straws, I am giving energy and that energy is traveling like this. Energy is traveling, but matter is required. Matter is not traveling. Such waves are called mechanical waves. Example, sound. I am creating sound, voice, and you are able to listen because in between you and me there is air. If you create this chamber with vacuum or less air, then you can't hear me. So there is an experimental setup in sound chapter where I discussed that. There is an experiment activity using which we can demonstrate it. Next, electromagnetic waves, necessity of medium. Medium is not required for electromagnetic waves. So electric and magnetic fields will be there. So between two magnets, if I bring it, they will attract and repel. In between place is some way modified by a field called magnetic field. Here, this chalk piece I am leaving it. It is being pulled by earth, not because of the air here. It is because of the gravitational field. Field is some invisible thing. field shows its effect, but field itself is invisible, and field is not a solid, liquid or gas. So electric field, gravitational field, magnetic field, three fields are there. So electric and magnetic fields, they are interrelated. So changing electric field produces magnetic field, changing magnetic field produces electric field. That you study in two chapters called electromagnetism and electromagnetic induction. By moving a magnet, you can create current. The current which is going through a wire creates magnetic field around it. So such things, once they are created, they can propagate in space. Such waves are called electromagnetic waves. Example, light waves. And heat flow, heat radiation is there. So thermal radiation it's called. So light is an example for electromagnetic waves. It don't need material medium for its propagation. So mechanical waves and electromagnetic waves are the two basic waves which are classified based on the necessity of medium. These travel very slowly, this travels very fast, and the speed of is 3 into 10 power 8 meters per second. These waves will be in 330 meters per second, 500 meters per second, 3000 meters per second. This is a very slow value. And moreover, in mechanical waves travel more fast in solids. Electromagnetic waves travel more fast in gases and vacuum. So there are so many other points are there. When subject comes there, when topic comes there, we can explain it. But basically, suddenly if word comes, then student get confused. That's why we are telling that waves is classified based on necessity of medium, and those waves are sound waves and light waves. Sound waves are mechanical waves, light waves are electromagnetic waves. Now, wave classification based on particle vibration and direction of propagation. For example, wave is going like this. In this direction, wave is going. If particles are also vibrating like that, in the same direction, like this, that wave is called longitudinal wave. If wave is propagating like this, going like this, but particles are vibrating like this, up and down, up and down, up and down. So we say that these vibrations are parallel to the direction of wave propagation. These vibrations are perpendicular to direction of wave propagation. So just see me, how I am doing my action, moving forward, backward like this. So I am moving forward and my vibrations are in this direction. They are called longitudinal waves. So I am vibrating like this and moving. In that case, I am moving forward, but vibrations are occurring like this. Such waves are longitudinal waves in which direction of propagation and particle medium, direction of propagation and particles of vibration will be parallel. Example in this again, sound waves. So the sound here vibrates like this, like this, like this, and reach you. Here the molecules, force presses these molecules of air, these molecules presses them, and they oscillate like this. In the process of that, you can imagine in exhibitions and all, you get some spring like this. Some play you do like this. So you take that and give a bump like this. So it gets compressed at some place and it gets expanded at some place. It gets compressed at some place. So you'll get alternate compressions and rarefactions in longitudinal waves. Distance between compression and next compression is called wavelength. Here the same spring, if you do up and down, if you do make like this, you will get waves like this. This is a crust, this is a trough. Distance between two crusts, this is called compressions, this is called crusts. Distance between two crusts is called wavelength. This kind of waves are called longitudinal waves, this kind of waves are called transverse waves. So again, when topic comes, we will discuss in detail. Next, basing on transport of energy, imagine that this system is there. I have in my hand this number of strips of straws. Straws are attached to a strip. I vibrate like this. The wave should not return. Should go forward. That means actually this I have tied at some place that you may not be able to see in the video. I tied at some place. If I don't tie it, this will go forever. But actually here it is coming back also. It's coming back also. In the process, when I am continuously vibrating it, there will be some place which are interlocked and that particles don't vibrate. So if I vibrate one particle, it goes up and down. Next particle goes up and down. Next particle goes up and down. Next particle. Like that it goes and it don't return back. Such a wave which progresses in forward direction such that it takes energy with it and that energy don't return back. Basing on energy transport, wave classification are called progressive waves. There are waves. Particles are here, 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 here. This particle vibrate up and down. This particle vibrate up and down less than this. This particle vibrate very little. And here you have a particle which don't vibrate. This appear to be a lobe like this. So when we do decoration in our houses, so we will twist something like this, something like this. So this kind of things, when you twist it, you get some places where they are stationary, some places you get bump. So you will get something called lobe shape place, you get it. And it is not a static one, it is continuously oscillating. This particle will be vibrating more and more, this will be vibrating less and less. So always it will be continuously happening, and you get something lobe kind of thing. This is always static. This vibrates less, so it have less energy. This vibrates more, it have more energy. This vibrates large, that have very high energy. So again, less energy, no energy. Like that it will be there. Energy is trapped in certain regions. So this is the region in which energy is being trapped. Such waves are called stationary waves. When we do a topic called progressive wave and we derive an equation, there we will give a very lengthy discourse on progressive wave. Similarly, stationary, when we are explaining a lot of things you need to learn about it, there we will give a discourse or explanation on stationary waves. Coming to this. Now, the last one. The wave classification based on dimensions they spread. Suppose you may be thinking that sir is again and again taking the same example. See, in physics you have advantage. If you have one example, you can show everything with it. Reason is, whatever logic you talk about one mass, it's applicable for all other mass. For example, mass into acceleration of chalk piece, mass into acceleration of duster, mass into acceleration of car. Anything is okay. So now, it is going along one particular direction. So wave in a string is 1D motion. Waves in a string is 1D motion. You throw a stone in a static pond, you will see ripples. Ripples are spreading on a surface, not only in one direction, in all directions. So it's a two-dimensional plane on which the waves are spreading. So that is 2D. 3D is, imagine spheres, concentric spheres. So now I am talking, person here will listen, person here will listen, person here will listen, person here, everywhere my sound goes equally in all directions. So sound waves. If I switch on a tube light, there is a tube light here, you can't see in the video, little above. If I switch on that, light spreads in all directions. So light. So that these are called waves, these are called ripples, these are called wave fronts. In future you will study it, the three-dimensional envelopes of all vibrating in same time at a given time, all are vibrating. No, that kind of things, we envelop it and call it as a wave front. So for example, this is the place where energy is being started, so I vibrate it at a given time, this is vibrating. Similarly you have another, similarly you have another. So if you envelop all of them, you get a ripple. If this particle is vibrating at that time, here, in three-dimensional, all those particles which are vibrating simultaneously, if you envelop them, you call it as a wave front. So in a string, we call it as a wave. On a surface of water, we call it as a ripple. In 3 dimensions, we call it as a wave front. So this is about classification of waves. It's not important to solve problems, but what actually happens is suddenly something comes in between in our screenplay of teaching, and I need to explain it, and students don't feel happy if suddenly we deviate from the path. So this is to be known, this is to be little understood, but as per the requirement we will go into details of it. Yes students, I told you oscillations by taking an example of simple pendulum, and I told you about waves by taking this straw system, and now I am talking about sound. So sound basically is a wave. What is a wave? I already told. Every particle will be oscillating and other particle copies the oscillations. And I told that wave is energy which get transported from one place to other place without transport of matter. So I am standing and talking, the energy is going in all directions, and the matter is required, but matter itself will not move. So I am talking, the air here vibrates, somebody is sitting and listening here, near the air also air will vibrate, but air near his ear remains there, air near my mouth remains here only. So sound is a wave or energy spreading in 3 dimensions with constant speed, and whose production need a vibration, whose propagation need a medium. So I am talking, just here, talk. When I stop vibration, I cannot talk. When I fix this, I try to talk like that, but If I fix the vibrating particles, then sound cannot be produced. Production of sound need vibration, and once the vibration is created, the propagation needs medium, and medium properties depends on, basing on the medium properties, sound will travel. See here, this is, I am holding it loose. See the propagation you see. Now I am holding it tight. See how fast it goes. Loose, goes slowly. Tight, goes fast. So in that way, in solids, molecules are more tightly packed, so sound travels nearly about 5000 meters per second. I have written approximate value. Brass will be there, iron will be there, steel will be there. I am talking about metals and solids I am talking. In water also sound will travel more. That's why when a mother makes ultrasound sonography, she want to see inside the baby how it is and all, they ask you to drink more and more water, because sound waves travel more fast in water. We can't eat lot of things. So water, in that speed will be high. Similarly, in air speed will be very low at 0 degree centigrade and 1 atmosphere pressure, that is at NTP, 331 meters per. This is the standard value. Everyone has to remember that. And as temperature changes also, sound changes. More the temperature, sound increases, but not proportionally. So that is square root of absolute temperature. Don't depend on degree centigrade. Absolute temperature you have to take into account. We will do some problems related to that. And the medium in which sound travels slow, we will take it like a traffic jam situation. We call that medium as denser medium. So air, that is gases, for sound are denser medium. For metals which have high speed, the sound travels very fast. Then we say it's like no traffic situation, like early morning situation. Then we say that it's a rarer medium. If wave travels fast, it's a rarer medium. Wave travels slow, it's a denser medium. So for light, air is a rarer medium because it travels fast. In the glass and all, it travels slowly. So sound, it is ulta. Air, in air or gases, sound travels slow, it is denser medium. In metals and solids, it travels fast. That's why it's rarer medium. This gases are denser medium, solid are rarer medium. Next is, there are some activities in school level, better if the children do that. Anyhow, I'll demonstrate it, the activity given in textbooks. Take a tumbler. In that, keep the cell phone not in vibration mode, keep the cell phone in ringing mode. And here you cover it with some balloon and tie a rubber band. This is balloon, stretched balloon. This is rubber band. This is a glass tumbler. And this is phone, mobile. In a ringing mode, not in vibration mode. And put some little sand. From other mobile outside, you give a ring. When it is ringing, when it is producing sound, this sand here dances, vibrates. So sound creates vibration, vibration creates sound. So this kind of activities generally they give in school. A simple activity is hold your tongue, that's all. You stop your vibrations of the tongue, automatically the sound gets reduced. So production of sound need vibrations, you can do with the tongue, or you can do this experiment what is been given in your school book. Next, propagation needs medium. So there is a very famous example called Bell-Jar experiment. So by some method, if you have a vacuum pump and you have a bell jar, you can even have a vacuum pump here. So introduce one electric bell whose gong rings when you switch on. It's connected to some battery. This is fixed with a cork. So when you switch on, you will listen the sound of the bell. Then you try to take a vacuum pump and remove all the air inside it. Then sound gets reduced. As you create more and more vacuum here, sound dies off. Same amount of vibration it's creating, but propagation will not be happening. That's why in sun and stars, so many bombs will be exploding, but you can't listen any sound because between sun and earth you have vacuum. On moon also they say that if you fire a gun, other person cannot listen. Why? Because on moon there is no atmosphere, air is not there. So for production of sound, vibration is necessary. Even you can take some vibrating utensil or keep your ear nearby. Until the vibrations visible, the sound will be audible. When vibrations die off, sound also dies off. So for production of sound, vibration is necessary. Take a rubber band like this, stretch it with your finger, with your thread, with your hand, and then keep it in mouth and vibrate it. Until you are feeling vibration with your eyes, you will be listening the sound. When vibrations reduce, sound will be up. That's production of sound needs vibration. See why I am explaining like this, because small children needs all these things to understand. Production of sound needs vibration, propagation of sound needs medium. Medium is either solid or liquid or gas. Gas is denser medium for sound. Solid is rarer medium. What is a rarer medium? The wave, if it travels fast, that is rarer medium. The wave, if it travels slow, denser medium. Nothing to do with density. Mass and volume is unimportant there. So this is about sound, and characteristics of sound is another important thing which students get confused. So I am talking about sound. Give me little time, I'll write everything and explain. Yes, students, we are discussing about characteristics of sound. So many sounds are being produced in music. In Indian music we have sa, ri, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, again sa. So sariga, samada, sapada, like that they will create a combination of this and they create a lot of sounds. They give little rhythm and your ear will find it nice. So the musicians create music traditionally by using 7 words. Sa, I am writing in Telugu, in Hindi. Sa, ri, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa. They are dha kind of things or gna kind of things are not nice to hear, and the musicians create music using them in a different permutations and combinations. Like that only engineers, when they are creating something, what are the minimum basic required things? For example, where are you to location geographically? 1 latitude, 1 longitude is enough. 2 lines, if you have it, those 2 lines can tell you where is your geographic position. So like that, what are the minimum things required to see so many sounds you will be hearing? So many sounds, but basic characteristics of sound are 3: pitch, loudness, and quality. There are 3 basic things as per physics. Physically, these are 3 things. So if you see bee, that vibrating and creates that lion kind of sound, it lion creates, there is a difference. Similarly, a guitar produces one kind of sound, and a horn, in olden days in autos used to pow pow like that, horn used to give it. So that these are called shrill voices, HHRILL. These are called hoarse. Shrill voices means within given time more number of vibrations happen. Hoarse voices means within given time less number of vibrations happen. So in physics, pitch means how fast the medium particle is vibrating. So in this I will show it to you. So if you see, this is vibrating and this I make it vibrate. It vibrates more fast in less time. So vibrations, if they are happening fast, we say it's more frequency. Happening slow, we say less frequency. More frequency appear to be hoarse. More frequency appear to be shrill. Less frequency appear to be hoarse. So bee, its wings flux its wings multiple times within a second. That's why the bee creates that this much small bee creates that much audible sound to us. So it flux its wings many times within a second. That voice is shrill and lion voice is hoarse. So pitch is nothing but how fast the medium particle is vibrating. And if you convert that sound into a microphone signal, and in the microphone signal, if you see this kind of CRO, cathode ray oscilloscopes, olden TVs were of that form. You can convert electrical sound signals into electrical signals, and you can create this. In that waveform, they observed physicists, they observed that frequency. So hoarse sound, when they converted into a electric pulse, it appeared like this. Shrill sound, they sent to a oscilloscope, they found like that. Then they understood that the basic difference is both are waves only, both are sound only. Basic difference is frequency. This vibrated more number of times per second, this vibrated less number of times per second. Physically, this is a distinction we attributed for pitch. Coming to the loudness, how large it's vibrating. Suppose I take the pendulum, this is not creating any sound, but small amplitude, large amplitude. Large amplitude transfers large energy, small amplitude transfers small energy. So let this also vibrate 1 time per second, this also vibrate 1 time per second, like this, one wave. Here also I created one wave, but the difference, you see, this amplitude I kept it small, this amplitude I kept it large. So I am only, now you don't need 2 persons, I only create 2 sounds. Hello, hello, you can see the difference. I have to oscillate my tongue or larynx so big, I have to create a bigger amplitude, then you get that. So if you have a microphone and that you can convert into electrical signal, I say hello, that will come as this form. Hello, that will come like this. So the difference you can see in form of amplitude. Physics wise they told that okay, when you are sending 2 sounds which are less loud and more loud, the basic difference we are seeing is amplitude. So how large the oscillation is happening in the medium particle, how fast is oscillating, medium particle oscillating, how large the medium particle is oscillating is attributed to loudness. Now coming back to this, you created one sound of same loudness and same intensity, that is a pitch. You have created with a guitar, sitar, tabla. You can hear and tell this is tabla sound, this is flute sound, this is clarinet. You can say it. Like that only your friend calling you, mother calling you, father calling you. By hearing the voice you can tell who has talked. So by taking 2 persons having same frequency and amplitude, if they created it certain sounds, they observed that this also vibrates 1 time, this also vibrates 1 time, same amplitude. Same amplitude, vibrated 1 time, vibrated 1 time. Frequency wise both are same. This much length, both are same. Amplitude wise they are same. But waveform, this is different, that is different. Difference in the waveforms they observed. So that they attributed to quality or timbre, whatever, I don't know the proper pronunciation, quality or timbre. So sound has 3 characteristics: pitch, loudness, quality. Pitch is related to, in physics, frequency. Loudness in physics related to amplitude. Quality is related to the waveform. In a loose speaking layman language, pitch is related to how fast the medium particle vibrate. Loudness is related to how large the medium particle vibrate. Quality is related to how differently the medium particle vibrate for a given sound, for a given energy. That is related to quality. Here, high pitch means shrill voice, low pitch means hoarse voice. Here, low energy means less loud, more energy means more loud. Here it is like different voices created having same frequency and same amplitude differ in their waveform. So physically, what all things you are seeing in your daily life, if you feed them into an oscilloscope, that is convert their sound into electrical signal, the basic differences you see in frequency, amplitude and waveform. In general, hundreds and thousands of your friends and so many people who are talking, each of them will be a combination of frequency, amplitude and waveform that creates thousands and crores of different voices. That all things in general happens. But for us, for physics wise, physical terms are related. The terms related to how fast the medium particle vibrate, how large the medium particle vibrate, how differently the medium particle vibrate. These are the things for us. So this is about characteristics of sound. At school level this comes as a board question. At college level we never address this, but for us frequency, amplitude and the other things are coming into calculations involved and all. We'll do problems related to that. But anyhow, interesting thing I discussed. Yes, student, conceptually the simplest topic is human ear. If any particle vibrates very slowly also we cannot hear. Very fast also if it vibrates we can't hear. When it oscillates very fast, you think that loudness will be large. No, the amplitude will be very less in that case. So I can't listen that. So frequencies greater than 20,000 hertz we can't hear. They are called ultrasonics. 20,000 also can be written as 20k hertz. Frequency is measured in hertz. Less than 20 hertz are called infrasonics. These frequencies also you cannot hear. So I am talking, you are listening. I'll vibrate my eyes, you see. You can't hear. Because some frequencies which are very less also you cannot hear. Some things which are very high also we cannot hear. So such frequencies which are less than acoustic sound waves are called acoustic. Sound wave frequencies or acoustic frequencies less than 20 Hz are called infrasonics. Sound wave frequencies or acoustic frequencies greater than 20 kilohertz or 20,000 Hz are called ultrasonics. In between is audible range for a good healthy human being. And dogs can hear little lesser than 20 Hz, little more than 20,000 Hz. Bats can hear much more higher frequencies, up to 50,000 Hz they can hear. Like that, it has been then given in the textbook. It's pure information. Take that information, assimilate it. As far as your examination is concerned, you can write it them. They are not useful in solving problems, but still learn it like that. You should know every terminology in future when they use it.